Good evening. If you're watching this video presentation from the Real History Institute, then you likely already have an interest in ancient civilizations, the pyramids, and megalithic structures. You may even be of the same belief as the Institute that we are missing a large part of our history, perhaps lost to a cataclysm so great it has left many mysteries of our past still yet unsolved, and none of those mysteries come quite so large as the stones at Baalbek. Hello, I'm Dr. Thomas from the RHI, and today we're opening file number P2Y261 and investigating the largest quarried and placed stones in antiquity, the huge megaliths at Baalbek Temple in Lebanon. Located in the Bekaa Valley, the temple complex has been known by many names throughout history, most famously as Heliopolis to the Greeks and the Romans, and it was the Romans who built a vast temple complex there, unrivaled throughout their entire empire. The site is well known among scholars for this reason. The Temple of Jupiter, as it was known to the Romans, was the largest in the world, and it is believed to have taken over 70 years to complete, being built in 4 separate stages between 16 BC and 60 AD. The temple complex was built on top of an already existing, smaller, T-shaped foundation, and it is these foundations that provide the mysteries unanswered to this day. The foundation walls consist of huge stones, each weighing around 200 to 300 tons, and 3 magnificent monoliths that are estimated to be around 700 to 800 tons each. While the Roman temple's use is obvious to historians, it is the original structure that is more of a mystery. Originally named after the sky god Baal, legends around Baalbek mentioned the god Baal arriving here from heaven, leading many ancient alien theorists to suggest that the initial building was probably built as a platform to be used for the sky god Baal to land and take off from. The truth is, though, that no one knows why the original structure was built, nor do they know why such large blocks were used in its construction. These blocks are the largest ever to be used in antiquity, and the questions around how they were quarried, moved, and placed is why they are so revered. A quarry, located a quarter of a mile away, is where these massive stones originate from, and it was discovered in the 19th century. But more recently, in the 1990s and then again in 2014, even more discoveries and mysteries have been uncovered. While the stones that form what is commonly called the Trilition are impressive, measuring 19 metres long, 4.2 metres high and 3.6 metres thick, weighing around 750 to 800 tons each, that's more than 3 747 airliners, by the way. It's also worth noting that they sit on top of stones that in their own right would be considered massive, weighing around 250 to 350 tons each. It is the stones in the quarry that really take the Institute's attention. First of all, the so-called Stone of the Pregnant Woman, also called the First Monolith. 4.2 metres high, 20 metres long, almost 5 metres thick. It weighs an incredible 1,000 tons. It is probably the most famous of the stones located at the quarry, as it was never completely buried and claimed by the earth, allowing myths and legends to surround the stone, thus its unusual name. However, in the 1990s, another stone was uncovered at the quarry, the Stone of the South, whose dimensions are even larger. This stone weighs an estimated 1,240 tonnes. And what is strange about this stone and the stone of the pregnant woman is that they were both completely quarried from the rock and then just left. No explanation is given as to why these stones were not used in the construction of the Trilition or anywhere else in the temple complex. There is also a third stone, even larger than the others. In fact, so large, it is the largest stone ever quarried. This one was discovered in situ at the quarry and is known as the Forgotten Stone. It is almost 20 metres long, 6 metres wide and 5.5 metres tall. It is estimated to weigh a whopping 1,650 tonnes. That's 7.5 Boeing 747s, if you're still counting. These 3 stones are the largest stones ever quarried from rock in human history. They have been left in or near the quarry abandoned. No explanation is given other than the Romans realised that the stones were going to be far too heavy, far too big, so they just left them. To the Institute though, that just does not make sense. If we are to attribute the building of the Trilition to the Romans, a structure that would have taken much research and planning to even begin construction, surely they would know exactly how much stone they would need, the block's dimensions, and also what they were actually capable of quarrying and moving. These are the same Romans who built the Colosseum and gave the world roads and sewage systems, so why would they order the quarrying of blocks when they knew they would never use them? As well as this, the Temple of Jupiter was, as we have already mentioned, the largest in the Roman Empire. Yet, they didn't bother to record and document how they built such a large structure. Surely, such a monumental effort would want to be recorded so it could be celebrated and boasted about in the future. It is still an awe-inspiring sight to this day. The Institute has a better explanation. There are many unfinished megalithic marvels in this world left for history to figure out, but 2 of the most compelling are located in Egypt. Firstly, there is the unfinished obelisk in the quarry at Aswan, and a curious box in the Serapeum in Saqqara. Now, as you can see from these pictures, the unfinished pillar is massive and was actually never completely quarried from the rock. We will be presenting members with a more detailed look at this incredible wonder in the future, but for today, we will simply use it as evidence to an unfinished project. The other mystery is this box, located at the Serapeum. As you can see, it is clearly unfinished and lays in the middle of the corridor leading to the wider Serapeum complex. Again, a whole presentation is warranted for the mysteries at the Serapeum, but for today, we just want to ask one simple question. Why? Why was the pillar left unfinished? Why was the box at the Serapeum simply left in the middle of the corridor, where it was sealed off, by the way, by the Egyptians and not discovered again until 1850? Surely you would just move it, at least so you would have access to the other so-called sarcophagi in the Serapeum, and not just block the route in and out with an unfinished box. And why are the largest blocks of stone ever quarried by humans simply just left at the quarry and never used? the Institute believes the answer is the same as to why no concrete evidence has yet to be found that proves the existence of a lost chapter in human history. We believe that this lost civilization, one that was clearly capable of moving these stones using some yet to be discovered technology, was wiped out during a series of cataclysmic events that happened during the period commonly referred to as the Younger Dryas. We believe that the reason we see these unfinished projects all over the world is not because they were abandoned on purpose, but instead they were abandoned in a hurry, either because of rising floodwaters, tsunamis, maybe even suddenly because of an asteroid impact. Whatever it was, it caused them to literally drop their tools and end whatever projects they were working on. This, we believe, explains the stones left at Baalbek much better than the Romans simply deciding that they couldn't carry them. In the ensuing destruction, the tools and means of transporting these megaliths was also lost, along with all the evidence of their creators, leaving nothing but pieces of a puzzle that future generations on this planet have still yet to figure out. This has been a presentation from the Real History Institute. If you've enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe, as it is the best way to support the Institute's ongoing research projects. The Institute thanks its members for their time and wishes them a very pleasant evening.